quarterback is fine.
Obviously, you've had a little bit of quarterback roulette going on with that team. How do you feel, heading in? You've got a pretty good idea of what they're going to be doing with this guy now.
I mean, they scored 42 points on Saturday. They're trying to do things that obviously give them a chance to succeed in the running game, passing game. If you look at them, they got a good offensive line. I think those guys are pretty physical. Been impressed with their wide receivers. They got some good young players. I think 80's a good player. So, we understand that we got to play well, prepare, and be ready for a battle, because anytime you go on the road in this league, it's tough to win. So we've got to make sure we prepare the rest of the week.
There's such a wide gulf between losing 12-10 to LSU and then giving up like 700 yards to Texas A&M, both in the same place.
I mean, I think that, there's a lot of things that can happen. I mean, that just goes to show you how there's a fine line between playing, really, really good and not doing the things you want to do. And if things get going sideways, sometimes it's hard to stop them. But those guys have battled and continued to fall. They won last week. And, with the rivalry that we obviously have with them and the importance on the game for us, I'm sure they'll be ready to play. So we've got to make sure we match that intensity, and we're ready to answer the challenge and prepare the rest of the week.
What does it say that a team like that could win them all 2 years ago and not be able to win the conference game to this point?
First of all, each year is different. Every year's its own identity. Each team has its own identity, and you just got to keep sawing wood and working, because we play in a pretty competitive conference that's got a lot of good coaches, a lot of good players, and they've got good players and they've got good coaches right now. And there's a fine line between winning and losing, and when you're in a lot of close games, if you don't have the success maybe that you think you should have, then that can hurt you too a little bit from a confidence factor. So, it just goes to show you how tough it is to win in this league and how tough it is to win overall. So, you got to be prepared each week.
A lot of your players earlier today were asked about, I guess, the difference in these last two games as opposed to previous 7. About all of them said attitude. Is that something you buy, or?
Not really. It's also been some continuity. I mean, First of all, the first 4 games we didn't have all of our guys, and then after that we moved guys around. So there's been a lot of moving parts. There's a little bit more to it than that.
You mentioned not having those guys, the first 4 games. Christian said yesterday that Rambo reminds him of Ed Reed because he has such a knack for getting to the ball. I guess, what are your thoughts on that?
I think there's some similarities. Rambo's is a little bit of a ball hawk. Kind of understands pattern recognition and where to fit on the ball. Has some awareness back there. Obviously, I think that the more he's played over a little bit, the better it's been. So, got to continue to work and play.
What would it mean to you to coach, UGA's all-time interception leader? He's only 3 away from that.
That means we got some picks while he was here. That would be a good thing.
Of course, Auburn's going to be without their tight end, Kirk. I mean, he's been a great player. How much is that going to hurt them?
Well, I think anytime you lose a player, it's obviously going to hurt you a little bit. But I've been impressed with the other tight ends that have been in the game. They got some size to them. They can block. They can stretch the field a little bit. Obviously, he was a great player for them, great leader. But they've had some guys kind of step in there, and I think that they can make some plays. So we got to be aware of it.
What about their quarterback? I'm sorry if you've already been asked about it, but I mean, the fact that he said just that one start, is that okay as far as your study?
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I mean, he's played in other games, and he's a talented guy that can create some problems, when he's running the ball. So you got to be aware of that. If you look at the touchdown interception ratio, he's the best of all the quarterbacks they got, and he's done a good job there. It's just a matter of him getting some experience, and I think that if you look at him, he's going to be a good player. So we've got to make sure that we understand that we've got to come to play because they're going to be ready, and we got to make sure we match that intensity.
They on Saturday with him, they took like 4, 5, 6 shots downfield, more so than, and he's got that escapability that Mosley didn't have. So I mean, is that something that maybe they're a little better with him as far as
I think so, because he can. He's got good arm strength. he threw it down the field. He can't avoid the rush, make guys miss. So anytime you get that combination, you got a chance for a guy to make some explosive plays. So, I mean, he's a good player.
I want to ask you about Damen, too, in the year he's had. How happy are you with?
Really happy. I've always thought he was a really good player. It's just a matter of getting experience. I think he's done a really good job of coming in and, filling in for Boykin that he left. And I think he's only going to get better. He's instinctive. He's smart. He prepares. He's added some weight, some strength to him since he's gotten here. And I think he's just going to continue to grow and develop. And I think he's done a really good job.
He said when he got here last year, he kind of looked in, even on those 7-7s, he saw Boykin is like, something, he's going to be here 1 year and then he's gone. I want to learn behind him.
That's right. And I think Boykin gave him a good example. That's what happens when you get guys in your program, like a Boykin, and then you get a guy like Damen who's behind him knowing that, hey, this is going to be my spot when he leaves, and then Boykin shows him how to do it. And I think that can have a snowball effect on your program. And I think that at that position, it's a good example of how it's benefited us, as a team.
He's also been a guy who's obviously been around the ball a bunch lately.
Yeah, he's instinctive.
Yeah, how do you coach a guy to be around the ball?
Well, it's a little bit where he plays. He plays a little bit where the action is with his alignment rules. But he's got good awareness. He's got instincts, and he has a knack for understanding where the ball is going to go. And he's gotten his hands on some balls.
Hugh Freeze said that you guys manhandled them and beat them up front. When you looked at the film, were you happy with what you saw?
Yeah, I thought our guys played well up front. I thought our guys were physical. We were stout. We played with pad level. Really that's the best anybody's done against them in the running game from a yardage standpoint. So I thought our guys did a good job, and I think they're a good offense. They do a good job, and it was a matter of just being able to get our run fits down and play with the intensity we need to play with.
Auburn's quarterback Wallace started against New Mexico State. This is obviously, you guys have a lot more talent on defense in your front seven. What kind of challenge what kind of pressure can you put on a young guy like that?
Well, I think that they have really good players. When you look at their offensive line, I think that those guys do a really good job. I think they're well coached. I've been impressed with some of the receivers I've saw. The running backs run hard. So they have some talent there, and they got good coaches. So we've got to understand the challenge that we've got to be able to match the intensity of the game, because it's a big game. It's on the road. Anytime you do that, you have to be able to handle the environment that you're in and understand that the only thing that really matters is the people playing on the field, and we got to be ready to step up and play and match the intensity that we're going to see from them, because it's obviously a big game for us.
What have you noticed about the protection issues? They've given up a lot of sacks.
Well, it's not always an offensive line issue. Obviously the quarterback is the most mobile guy that they have right now. So anytime you have issues like that, it's a accumulation of a lot of things. But I think the big thing for us is to be prepared to have a battle and understand that they're going to come with everything they got, and we got to be able to match their intensity.
Coach, one of their offensive linemen, was talking a little bit to the media about Jarvis Jones specifically, and said, the ball, he's quote unquote easy to block. He respects him very much, the talent that Jarvis is. But what are your thoughts about, one of their guys saying that?
I don't really have any thoughts. I'm looking to prepare to win a game, and Jarvis is a good player, and he's done well for us, and I'm glad he's on our team.
Does it provide any extra motivation, you think?
Not really. It has no effect.
Did Brandon Smith have one of his better games for you last
He played well. Came up, tackled. He helped us out on the safety, that Tree got. Made a couple third down stops, with a guy in the flat. I thought he played really well and physical and showed up and did some really good things for us.